lucky blue hat on is the
Oh.
one and only Jeffrey Goodman. I went 4-0. I went 4-1 yesterday, guys. Just an FYI. Goodman got his ass kicked, so it was about time that I started making my comeback for these season-long records. So, Jeffrey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while since you can lay claim to kicking my ass, but you did. You went 4-1. I went 4-5. Maybe it serves me right for picking 9 games. Maybe I should cut down on my number of games, which I think I'll do tonight because there's not it's a good slate, but it's not like you've got 50 games to choose from tonight. So it's a little bit easier. And I give you credit though. I'm sure you slept well last night, knowing that you did kick my ass. So that's good.
Actually, the reason I slept well is because I knew I would be able to come on this stream this morning and demand an apology from you on behalf of the entire fan base of the Michigan Wolverines. Right now, I need your apology. You need to apologize.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I absolutely am not. Listen, it was a hell of a win. They've beaten the living daylights out of both Northwestern and Minnesota right now. The only thing I'll say to that is I still feel like this Michigan team, I want to see them against an upper tier team on the road in the Big Ten. I want to see them like before I say that they're an elite level team. They're good. Obviously, right now, they're in that kind of next tier somewhere, anywhere between 5 and 25. Okay. But that's a wide gap. And there's a lot of teams that are similar in there. I want to see if they distance themselves and they can kind of move themselves closer to like a Texas. I'm not going to put them in Gonzaga, Baylor, Villanova. I'm not. I don't think there's anybody in those three, the same realm. But can you put Michigan in a Texas tier? And here's the one thing I'll say about Michigan, okay? Here's the one thing I'll say. You look at Michigan and their schedule this year. They don't play Iowa on the road. They don't play Illinois on the road. They don't play Rutgers on the road. Their schedule is absolutely favorable. The teams they play twice, Maryland, Northwestern, Penn State. So we'll see. We'll see. They've looked phenomenal. And last night's win was by far their most impressive, but it was still Minnesota at home. Minnesota's had a great start to the season, but I'm not ready to anoint either Northwestern or Minnesota as like teams that I fear come March, if they even get there come March.
Especially when you beat Minnesota when Minnesota's playing on the road, because Minnesota on the road has now lost by 27 at Illinois. They lost by 12 at Wisconsin, and they've lost by 25 at Michigan, where like 25 was a pretty favorable final score for the way that played out.
They were never in the game. I mean, it was
I think that you are being very harsh when you say that like Michigan can be 5 through 25. There's no
5 through 20. I'll narrow it to 20. Oregon is like 18. Like let them play Oregon when they get Will Richardson back, and it'll be a hell of a game. That's all I'll tell you.
When Oregon gets Will Richardson back, they're going to be better than number 18 in the country. Well, that's the problem with it. So I do agree with the sentiment that we don't necessarily know just how good Michigan is because, again, like they have not had that real test yet. They haven't played Iowa, they haven't played Wisconsin, they haven't played Illinois, they haven't played like a great team in the non-conference yet. So we'll get there. They're in the Big Ten. They're going to get tested every single night. But you're right, beating Minnesota at home is not the thing that's going to convince me and say, oh wow, Michigan really needs to be in the same conversation.
Yeah, I put him in the top 10. I put him at 9 today. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably about right. Like anybody who thinks they should be in the top 5 right now, you just haven't earned it. You got to me, if you're in the top 5, you got to have either a resume win or.
Well, see, that's the problem with your ranking system is that you're ranking it as if you're doing the NCAA tournament seeds. You're not ranking it based off of who the best teams are. You're ranking the best resumes, which are two very different things.
Right.
The best teams in college basketball might not have the best resumes, and that's just the way that the schedule works out, which is why your ranking system is, and we go back and forth on it. But whatever, like that's a different conversation for a different place. The last thing I'll say is this. The question that we had entering the season with this Michigan team is their backcourt. It is Eli Brooks and Mike Smith.
It was Mike Smith. It was Mike Smith. That was my question.
Yeah. Like,
Been good. He's been good. Listen, Mike Smith's been better than advertised because
yes, but hold on. But here's the problem with that is they are still at the bottom of the Big Ten in league play in terms of offensive turnover percentage, and they have not played a team that Minnesota is the best team that they've played, the best defensive team they've played.
Right. Mike Smith hasn't seen Io. He hasn't seen Io yet.
And here's the other part of it: they have not played a team that ranks in the top 80 in defensive turnover rate, which means they're turning the ball over like crazy, and they haven't even played teams that force a lot of turnover. Right. So I don't think that we've had the question about their backcourt answered. Now, Hunter Dickinson is awesome. He's better than anybody expected. Franz Wagner is playing the best basketball of his life right now. Isaiah Livers has not gotten it going yet. Shawnee Brown has been more or less exactly what you expected. Yeah. So everything else on that roster is better, is proven, and is just exactly what you're looking for.
Mike Smith doesn't have to be great. Team.
Yes.
Smith, just be good. Be good, Mike Smith.
And right? I don't think that we've I'm not convinced yet that what we've seen from him is him going to be good enough to put them in the national title conversation. Now, that said, Mike Smith could be me, and I think at this point, Michigan is like floor top 12 team. Like that's the worst is top 12.
Do you remember last year, Michigan started out like crazy, right? They started out 7-0. They beat Gonzaga and North Carolina on a neutral court. And then they went through a little stretch, and they lost to Louisville. They lost to Illinois. They lost to Oregon. And then they went through a stretch in January. They lost 4 straight. So,
and you know what else they lost in all these games that they lost? Isaiah Livers. He wasn't playing, and he wasn't healthy. So, I mean, assuming that he stays healthy, which is, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen. They're a very good basketball team.
I'm just saying sometimes we get carried away early. And I'm not saying Michigan's not going to be a second weekend team. I'm just saying let's settle down a little bit on them pounding Northwestern that you and I have agreed we're not ready to anoint Northwestern as an NCAA tournament team in Minnesota, who is a little bit helter-skelter. Like Minnesota's looked great at times.
Hold on, let me correct you on that. The only time you're allowed to anoint Northwestern is when you're talking to Deion Thomas. If you want to tell Deion Thomas that Northwestern is the best team in the state of Illinois, you're allowed to do that, and you're allowed to make that argument, and you're allowed to justify it. That's the only time you're allowed to back Northwestern.
All right. Done.
All right, let's talk about the rest of yesterday's slate because there was a lot of things that happened. Creighton absolutely beat the brakes off of Seton Hall. Bryce Aiken went down again. Louisville got a nice win over Virginia Tech at home and is still undefeated in ACC play. Tennessee bounced back from losing to Alabama at home to get a nice comfort behind win against an Arkansas team that actually looked pretty good. What else? I think that was Xavier beat St. John's and covered against St. John's, which was awesome. Pitt was down by 20 in the first half and came back to beat Syracuse. Baylor got a really nice win against an Oklahoma team where they just overwhelmed Oklahoma, who had really good guards. Houston won despite not having Caleb Mills. Duke came back to beat Boston College, 16 down in the first half, came back to win. Wendell Moore, 25 points off the bench. He had 19 points on the entire season entering the game. How about this? His last 4 games before last night, Wendell Moore was 1 for 21 from the floor. He played 16 combined minutes against Notre Dame and then the loss to Illinois. And he woke up today. To me, that was the most significant thing that happened last night was Wendell Moore waking up.
Certainly in Durham it was. I mean, like that helps. Matthew Hurt's been good. Wendell Moore obviously broke out last night if they can keep that going. And Jeremy Roach was decent. Like he still turned the ball over too much. He's got to make better decisions. But I think he's getting better. And if they can somehow get, and I said this to Andre Dawkins last night, if they can somehow get Jalen Johnson bought in, like he doesn't have to be spectacular. Just be a 12-7 guy. Be bought in. Don't fight it. Embrace it. You're not going to be, you're not going to be leading scorer in this team. Matthew Hurt is. Matthew Hurt's the best offensive player in this team, period. But he needs guys around him because he can't be the only guy that Coach K or John Shire can count on. And no, you're right. Wendell Moore, it was huge. Now, can he capitalize and take advantage of that and be consistent. Because if he can, like Duke could be. Listen, the great thing about the ACC, like I was on Durham and Packer this morning on ACC Network. They asked me who's the best team in the ACC right now. Clemson. Clemson's the best team in the ACC right now. So what does that say if you're Duke or Virginia or North Carolina or Syracuse, who lost to Pittsburgh last night? Like, okay, we're not that far back. None of us.
Anybody can win it this year.
Except for Wake Forest.
Except for Wake Forest. And I think you're 100% right about Jalen Johnson. And it's not just like the offensive stuff. He is really the only guy on that roster that you can trust as a rim protector. Because like their freshman bigs they're not ready. They're going to be good. They're not ready.
Yeah.
And Jalen Johnson, the one thing that he has proven that I was like really impressed about was he's not scared to get up there and try to block a shot when someone's going in to try to dunk on him. And I think that they need that presence defensively. Like when you're getting lit up by BC in Cameron Indoor Stadium, like that's a little bit of a problem on that end of the floor.
They were getting crunched,
I will say this though, DJ Stewart has kind of gotten it going. He's been pretty good this year. Jeremy Roach looks like he's starting to figure things out. Jordan Goldwire is not he's not great, but like he's
good defensively.
Like if you ask him if he's your fifth guy, if he plays the Kihei Clark role that Kihei played on that Virginia national title team, Jordan's a very effective player in the ACC. He can do a job really well.
Kihei had a little bit more around him in that game.
Yes. But you know what I'm saying? Like he can do a job. So and Matthew Hurt's a guy that gets you 20 on any given night. So like there are pieces where it can make some sense that Duke can kind of be a top 25-ish team, but that doesn't change the fact that we're going to fade them every single time that they play for the very foreseeable future. Also, shout out to John Shire, who's now the only undefeated coach in the history.
I think he's going to retire. Basketball. I'm pretty sure he's going to retire today. All right, let's get going with tonight's games.
There's anything else you don't want to mention? Creighton, Seton Hall?
No, let's move on.
Okay. Tonight's games. There's one that I love. Can we open with that?
Yeah.
Indiana at Wisconsin. Easily my favorite bet. Indiana is getting 7.5. I love Wisconsin in this spot for a couple reasons. One, Armand Franklin.
Going to say Indiana. You teased me before this that you were going to pick Indiana, and I was going to call you. I was going to call you an idiot.
That's not what I said. That is absolutely not what I said. Okay. So. No Armand Franklin, which is big. He's been awesome over the course of the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And Trace Jackson Davis, like we kind of know his MO, right? He's really good against teams that don't have great bigs. Teams that do have great bigs, he is not so good against. Last year against Wisconsin, in 2 games, he averaged 7.5 points. If you look at the games that he's kind of played this season, when he goes up against a Maryland team that doesn't really have size, he went for 22 points. It was completely dominant. He had 23 against Butler. He had 31 against I think it was Florida State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So like when teams don't have good big guys, he can dominate. When teams do have good big guys, he struggles. He had 11 the other day against Illinois in that game that they lost. So Wisconsin, Micah Potter and Nate Reavers, who are both like 35 years old. 6'10", really good, like all Big Ten caliber big men. So you put all of that together, a team that can't shoot, a team that doesn't have Armand Franklin, and a team with a big guy that has a really bad matchup. I love Wisconsin in this spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. 17-3 Wisconsin is against Indiana over the last 10 years. So yeah, they've had their number. They're a better team. We know that. I think you're right. I mean, listen. The biggest strength of this Wisconsin team is its experience and balance. And they've got a lot of guys that can hurt you. Like Aleem Ford's been really good this year. Like Dimitri Trice has been terrific. Reavers, again, hasn't been great, but like I still love him because he's a rim protector. He'll fight. He'll fight against Trace. I'm with you. I like Wisconsin given the 7.5. I'm in on that.
All right. The other interesting game in the Big Ten that I wanted to discuss was the Illinois Fighting Illini at Northwestern in the battle for supremacy in the state of Illinois. I really like the Illini in this spot. The one thing that I'm worried about is The line has gotten all the way up to 7, and Northwestern they don't run a ton of like the ball screen stuff, but with their 5-out action with Pete Nance playing out on the perimeter, like that's something that can pull Kofi away from the basket. So I'm worried about what they can do, what they're going to be able to do defensive, or what Illinois is going to be able to do defensively against Northwestern. I don't see them having any problem scoring and scoring and scoring. Like, who's going to guard Io DeSumo? No one. Who's going to guard Kofi Coburn on the team? No one. So I like the over here. I think the over is the play.
Yeah, I like Illinois. I like Illinois. Boo Booey's playing. He's okay. He got hurt in the last game, but yeah, the over is 149.5. Little high, but I just think, I think Illinois is going to overwhelm them with their overall athleticism. And I don't know, although, again, I don't know how effective Boo Booey's going to be. And good luck going against Io and Trent Frazier. And, I mean, they just got dudes. Like, they got good – Curbello's terrific. I just think Illinois is clearly the better team here.
They are. There's no way that I'm going to be on Northwestern in the spot. It's just that the line at 7, that line has gotten a little bit too high for me. And I think that they're like, I think this game's going to be something like 85-75. Like, I mean, Northwestern wants to run. Illinois has no problem running with teams that want to run. I don't see how Illinois is going to be able to get all that many stops based off of that 5-out offense that Northwestern wants to run. And I just, like you said, I think Illinois is going to overwhelm Northwestern. So if you have two teams where the advantage is going to be on the offensive end of the floor that both want to get out and run, where there could be 75, 80 possessions, like just that total is way lower than I thought this line, this total would be like 150 something. KenPom has it at 152, and the line right now at the books is 140.
All right, so I'm going to go Illinois and the over. I'm going to go both.
There you go. All right, I love it. Little game parlays, baby. Little game parlays. Let's go. Last one of the Big Ten: Iowa, Maryland. Luka Garza's homecoming. DC boy heading back to the DC area.
Marcel's back. Just so you know, found that out.
Yeah, I saw that. So
I don't know about Connor McCaffrey. I'm not sure his status. But I just honestly, I love Iowa here. I love Iowa. I think he might follow up the entire team. I love him in his homecoming. I think if they feed him enough, I think he could go for 60 tonight. 60-0.
So the Connor McCaffrey thing, I think, does
he's tough.
Just hurt them a little bit.
Sure.
Because he very much is like what's the best way? Like a kind of like a quarter. Like he can't really shoot, and he's not really a threat offensively. But it just everything works better when he's on the floor. Everything does.
Yeah, even the pass at the end of the game last game, he could barely walk. He comes in just to make the inbound pass, and then he checks himself out. I mean, he's cerebral, he's tough, he's just that intangible guy that helps him. So if they don't have him, they're not going to be the same. But I think again, I don't think Maryland's very good. They're not big, and they're going to have to double and triple Luka. We know that, and as long as they're not 2 for 22. Honestly, as long as Bohannon doesn't go back to his old self, they're going to light it up from the perimeter. They're going to make 15 threes tonight, and I think they blow out Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, I get that thinking. I'm a little bit concerned about what Iowa will do defensively, right? And I don't know, like Luka's going to have to guard somebody on the perimeter. And I don't think that you can go zone against this Maryland team because I do think that they have some wings that can pass the ball a little bit, and they do make threes. So like I that's the one thing that I'm concerned about. The other problem is that this line has gotten up to 6 and 6.5 in some places. And that is a lot of points in the game on the road when Maryland wants to slow everything down. So like I kind of want to see I kind of want to take the under here. The total's 154, and I kind of want to take the under because I think that Maryland is going to be able to keep this in like every game that they've played in the last like month has been in like 60 possessions. And I know Illinois or Iowa's going to run, but it's easier to slow games down than it is to speed games up against teams that don't want to play fast. So I kind of like the under. If I'm going to be on anyone, it's going to be Iowa in this spot, but I think I like the under more than than picking a side.
All right, we going west? You ready?
Let's go out west. There's a couple interesting games in the Pac-12.
No. Let's start with the biggest game out west. Come on. What do you?
Well, yeah, BYU and Gonzaga.
Yes.
All right.
Biggest game. Listen, anytime Gonzaga is playing right now and playing against like the team you think has the best chance to beat them out west. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and it's also in the building where BYU somehow always ends Gonzaga's undefeated seasons, right? Like
BYU. By the way, have you seen the spread?
17.
Yeah, I'm taking Mark Pope and BYU. I don't know about you. I don't know if they can. I don't know if anybody can really keep up with Gonzaga. But 17 points is a lot of points for that rivalry, and the way BYU has played them close at times. So I'm going to take BYU here. Again, I don't have a ton of confidence, but I think BYU. It's kind of, are they going to make shots or not? Right? Like if they make enough shots, and really a lot of it is going to be. Barcelo's been ridiculous shooting the ball. I think he's been like the best shooter in America so far. And Matt Harms, can he stay out of harm's way? Like, can he stay on the court? You don't like that? You didn't like it?
No, it's good. It's like a great dad joke.
It really was. It was. So those two guys have to be really good and stay on the court. Again, I'm not saying they're going to beat Gonzaga, but I'm going to say they're going to stay within 17 points of them. How's that?
I like it. I'm completely staying away from this game. That's a lot of points, right? That's a lot of points, but it's also Gonzaga, and I don't ever want to be betting against Gonzaga in any form, in any situation, at any time. So, I don't know. I'm saying complete stay away from me.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the
I like the logic though. Like you're betting on Mark Pope basically to be able to put together a game plan that keeps BYU close.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I will say is this: like, when did this game actually get scheduled? Like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was 2 days ago that I broke it. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. That's right.
So that's the thing that does kind of worry me a little bit. Like 2 days should be enough time to game plan for someone, but it's it is what it is. So it's a stay away from me. But I like your logic. That's it's hard to argue against. What about
BYU's been pretty good, other than getting blown out in the bubble against USC. Other than that, they've been pretty good. Well, remember they beat San Diego State on the road, scored 72 points against San Diego State. So if they're making shots, they'll keep it within 17. If they have one of those poor shooting games, it could be ugly, and nobody would be surprised against Gonzaga. Nobody.
Yeah, and it's also like Mark Pope is a coach that is always going to get his teams better. Like if you look over the years, his teams always get better as the season goes on because he's a hell of a coach. So, like I said, I like your logic. I just don't. I'm not going to.
You don't want to go against Gonzaga. Nobody does.
I'm not going to go against it. I'm not going to bet against Gonzaga at any point, especially when they're playing at home. All right, there's a couple other games out west in the Pac-12 that we should talk about. We have Oregon at Colorado. We have UCLA at Arizona State, and we have Washington at Stanford. Well, I guess it's versus Stanford because they're not necessarily playing at Stanford. But do you like any of those games? Do you like any of those teams? I think my favorite bet out of all of them is probably the Oregon money line. I just think, we talked about it earlier. I think that they're undervalued nationally right now. So that's kind of what I like. Anything there that intrigues you, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I'll go Arizona State. Marcus Bagley's back. I just think they're the better team, and they're like their backs are up against the wall a little bit. Like they got to win some games, and there aren't a lot of big time games in the Pac-12 to win, right? So like this is one you're at home against a UCLA team that just lost Chris Smith for the year. Like you gotta win this game if you're Bobby Hurley, don't you?
I mean, you do. You pretty much have to, but. When have we ever seen Arizona State win a game where it's like you got to win this game? They're also getting 2 points right now, which is like that's a weird line.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, but Arizona State, if you look on them on the surface, their numbers are terrible, right? Like they lost to UTEP. They haven't really gotten a big win. We know how talented they are. I mean, listen, I don't know where you put them. I didn't want to put them on there, but I did. Did you put Remy Martin in one of your All-American teams?
I think I had him third team.
Me too.
I did not have him first team. Like,
so think about that. You've got a team with a All-American point guard and potentially 2 lottery picks. 2 lottery picks could be 2 first-round picks. Josh Christopher and Marcus Bagley are both going to be first-round picks.
They are.
And they're at home getting points against a mediocre UCLA team. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy here, but I just feel like they got to win.
No. You're right in terms of the logic, right? The more talented team playing at home against a team that just lost their NBA player, like that, getting points, like that makes total sense. The only thing that I would say against it is it's Arizona State.
Yeah, I get it.
It's Arizona State.
No, I get it. Listen, it's not an easy one. It's not one I feel great about, but I'll take Arizona State there. I'll also take Cal against Washington State. It's a pick 'em. Washington State had a bunch of COVID issues. I don't know how many of those guys are going to get back. We'll find out later today. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be like, honestly, that game probably is going to be in the friggin' 50s if I had to guess. I'll take Cal at home there.
The only problem is I don't think Matt Bradley is playing, and this big FA kid. I don't even know how to say his last name.
Yeah,
Obogidi is an absolute stud, an absolute, like, I think he's a pro. I think he's an NBA player, and Kyle. When it comes down to it, I think like Kyle Smith is just a really, really good basketball coach, and I do not want to be against him against a team that
about Matt Bradley. I'm not touching it. Yeah, I just saw that too. So Matt Bradley out. Scrap what I just said. I am not touching that. I'll take the money line on USC going to Arizona. I'll take a shot on that one. I mean, Arizona hasn't seen length like this before with the Mobley brothers. And I just don't know how good Arizona is. So to me, I think that's good value taking USC in the money line there.
Yeah, USC is getting 2.5. The money line is at plus 120 right now. And we should probably mention Washington State is laying 2.5 at Cal. I think I might end up taking Wazoo in that spot. I might do it. I'm not.
Without Matt Bradley, it might not be a bad one. Hey, how about fading Cincinnati tonight?
Why? SMU?
Yeah. SMU 5.5. I just don't think Cincinnati's any good. What are they, 2-6? Like SMU at home, they got one of the better players. Kendrick Davis is one of the better players that people don't talk about. I don't know. I like SMU there. I could see. I mean, this is going to be a bad year for Cincinnati. We know that it already is, but it could go from bad to worse here if they get blown out by SMU at home.
Yeah, I do think there's still value on Cincinnati, just kind of because I think they're overvalued. Yeah, they're overvalued nationally, so I like that play.
I think that's all I got. I'm going to try to. I mean, that's adding up to. I got Wisconsin, I got Illinois plus the over, I got Iowa, I got BYU, I got Arizona State, I got the USC money line. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's slim for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bets these are the bets that I've put in so far, right? So these are my official picks. I like Wisconsin minus 7.5, and like I doubled down on that. I went heavy on it. I like the Oregon money line, and I like the over in Illinois. Northwestern, and then I think I'm probably gonna, for this, give me Washington State minus 2.5 as well, and then give me, what was the other game? Oh yeah, the Iowa Maryland under. So give me those as well, Mitchell. Lock me in. 5 picks. Let's go.
Nobody knows who Mitchell is. It's like you're talking to somebody like up here or something. Mitchell's our
he's also not listening today. He's not even listening today. So
he's driving to Arkansas.
Yeah, there you go. Have fun on that drive.
Maybe he'll listen. If you get it in the audio feed quick enough, it's a 16-hour drive. He's got plenty of time to listen.
Yeah, all right. So I'll put it in right now so he can hear it and he can hear his shout out. Shout out to Mitchell Gladstone. And shout out to me for whipping your ass yesterday. What was worse? What was worse? The beating that I gave you or the beating that Michigan gave Minnesota?
It was still the worst was the beating that Mississippi State gave Missouri. It's been a rough couple days for me. I'll be honest. It was feeling for a while there. You knew there were going to be some bumps in the road. I have effectively hit those when you can rip the crap out of me for a couple minutes.
So let me ask you this: what's worse, losing the money from losing the bets, or having all of these things happen in the last 3 days?
No, it's definitely
you losing the Mississippi State bet. Yeah. You watching Michigan beat teams by 40 points every single night and try to say that they're not a top 25 team. Like, what's worse, or losing to me when it comes to like the
no? I always say it's bragging rights in any of this, right? Like I won a fantasy football league with Kevin Nagandi, like in ESPN, and I rip on him all the time. We talk a ton of shit. So winning that league this year was way more important. The same day I got my ass kicked on NFL picks, and didn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like bragging rights sometimes are more important. They trump a wager, and in this case, I'd rather have bragging rights right now than money in my pocket. So for you to have those bragging rights over me, it's miserable. Like I can't wait for tonight. I can't wait for these games. And you got some, the good thing is it's a good TV slate too. I mean, it starts out, I think, early, right? Isn't there five?
Yeah, we got Oregon, Colorado at 5. Jeffrey, we did get one person in the comments though that recognized the same thing that I recognized.
What's that?
Can you see it popping up on your screen? You finally changed hats, baby.
I did.
You got a new lucky hat. Lucky hat.
I did. I had to do it. I mean,
you did.
I'm going to go out like now. Again, I need to get a little more gear in here. I've been stuck in the same sweatshirt for too long, so I got to do that too. But the hat is going to bring me luck. We're going to get some Big Ten and West Coast action tonight and win you guys some money.
Yeah.